Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are doing something I didn't anticipate, which is replacing the batteries on my 2020 Denali HD, because I took the truck to the dealer last week to have them do the transmission fluid, and they said, hey, you have a cracked battery post, and I just looked at this and did not see that that was cracked. So it is leaking acid, there is corrosion. These are the original batteries that came in at 2.5 years ago. They're non-AGM, meaning they're non-spill proof. Although they are sealed, you don't have to maintain them. You know, obviously, if they crack or something, they're going to leak. So, unfortunately, my truck is out of the 3-year 36,000 bumper to bumper, and so therefore they weren't going to cover these. Even though if I bought some new AC Delcos directly from GM or the dealership, they would have a 42-month replacement warranty. So I went ahead and took the dealer's advice, and they said actually the best deal is to go down to Costco and get their AGMs, which are Interstates. They're like 180 bucks each. We've got a 3-year free replacement, and then I think it's prorated after that. But I looked around. I wanted to do Odysseys, but they actually have less cranking apps than the new Interstates, which I think are like $9.50 on the Interstate. So it's actually a better deal to go with the Costco, usually, like most everything at Costco. So we're gonna go ahead and get these swapped out. Should be pretty easy. There's just a number of things you have to take off, and I have accessories, so we'll go through it together. All right, we're gonna start on the driver's side here. So you're gonna need a 13mm for the brace to remove that, and then it'll also apply to the negative and positive cables. And then the small nut there is going to be a 10mm, which actually releases the tension on the post. I do have to take off this 13 though, because I've got accessories on it. And then this little cover here, you just pinch these things together and it comes off. I could try and, there we go, got it with one hand. So now if you look in here, I've also got an accessory on this post, which I can probably just leave there, because to release it from the battery, I just have to remove that 13mm clamp. 13mm bolt on the clamp right there on the positive. But first thing you want to do is release the negatives before you do any electrical work. And on the passenger side, same thing with this cover. You take the cover off, and then you can see the negative is actually back there. Same thing, 10mm nut to remove that. So let me go ahead and take that cover off, and then we'll remove the negatives. All right, moving over to the passenger side here, I loosened up the negative cable, but in order to get it off, I'm gonna have to go ahead and remove the clamp here because it's in my way. So this brace is a 13 on both sides. I'm gonna use this box wrench over here because the strut's in the way, and then I'm gonna use the socket over there. Once I've done that, I'll remove this, the fuse box cover, and then I'll go ahead and pull the negative cable off. All right, now I've got the negative cable off, I've got the brace out. The only thing left here is this 10mm bolt to remove the positive terminal. But before I can do that, I need to release this deal here from the top of the battery, in which case I need to disconnect this connector here. I need to remove my positive leads here using a 13mm, and then I'll have to see what else I have to take off to remove this terminal block from the top of the battery. Okay, back here on the driver's side, we're going to use a 13mm again to remove this brace, and then we're going to start removing this terminal block off the top of the battery. All right, guys, so it just took me like 20 minutes to get this freaking thing off of the driver's side here. And this is your fuse block or terminal block, and this is what clamps on to the positive terminal. There's this nut here, this 10mm you have to loosen, and it won't come off. You just have to loosen it all the way, and then you have to remove the positive cable, which is here, from the stud right here. Take it off. And then you have to get a pry bar underneath this side and just wiggle it up as you pry up on the positive side. Now there's a 13mm hold down we got to take out. We can remove the battery. All right, so as you can see, we removed the driver's side battery. The last step was to remove this hold down piece that goes on the corner, and it goes kind of like this. So once you unscrew this 13mm bolt, you can go ahead and remove the battery. So this is an AC Delco 4474 48 PG that came in the truck, and once we get the second one out, I'll show you what we're putting in. All right, so on the passenger side here, all you have to do is remove this 10mm bolt or loosen it up, and then this entire block comes off. Now you got to make sure you got to disconnect this connector here, which goes to the truck. So disconnect that by pulling the red tab back and pushing down. Loosen up the 10mm. This whole thing will pop off, and then down there, kind of straight down, there's another 13mm bolt that is got a hold down, holding the battery. Once you've loosened that up, you can remove it. All right, so as you can see, we got the passenger side battery out, and it was easier in some respects because you only had to loosen this bolt on the positive to get this whole thing off. Problem is there's this giant hold down that was here on this corner, and I could not get it out without removing the entire lower part of this intake. Good thing is I probably won't have to do this again for a number of years, hopefully. So now that I've got the intake out, we've got a lot more room to get the new battery in. All right, guys, so here's the new batteries we're putting in. Again, I think these are the best deal going. These are the Interstates from Costco. We got a 3-year full replacement warranty, 760 cold cranking amps, and they are AGMs, and they're $179.99 a piece, and they give you a $30 core charge back if you bring back the old ones. All right, here's the old batteries. Here's the new batteries. Same group size, 48. And you can see the specs on here, a little bit better than the stock AC Delcos, which don't have grab handles, and they are sealed lead acid, whereas these are AGMs. So let's get them put in. All right, the new Interstate battery is installed. So what I did was I just plopped this thing over, and when I put the battery in, I put it towards the front, slid it back because there's a hook on the back that hooks over the bottom of the case, and then you have to kind of square up this hold down and kind of push it down in here, make sure it's square and sitting down here on this bottom of the battery. Once it's square and you've kind of hammered it in, it's a tight fit, you can get that 13mm bolt started. Tighten that down, and then put your positive terminal back on there, tighten that with a 10mm. Last thing we're going to do is do the negative once we get the second battery in. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and install the intake. All right, I got the driver's side Interstate installed. On this side, it's just reverse of what we did before. You reconnect this piece by sliding it over the positive terminal. Put the positive battery cable on there with the 13mm. I put my accessory on here with the 10. Tighten that down. Tighten down the nut that holds this thing onto the positive terminal with the 10. And then this thing is on here solid. It clips over on 2 sides. Last thing to do is clean up this cable here. Of course, I put in the hold down first, which you can see on the corner there, which was, again, a 13mm. This thing's nice and solid. So I'll go back to the passenger side, reconnect the negative, install the brace, negative here, install the brace, put the covers back on, and we're good to go. All right, guys, that's it. We got this thing installed. I still need to clean this terminal. I'm just going to spray some corrosion stuff on there. So all I did was reinstall the cover on the terminal block, install the brace, route the wiring, and it's all good to go, nice and solid. Looks good. Same thing over here. I reconnected this connector right here. It's underneath the cover. Cover on, brace on. Reinstalled my intake with the MAP sensor. As you can see, there's no clearance between the intake and the fuse cover, but that's how it installs. So you go ahead and start the truck, make sure everything's good, but that's it, man. Now that I know how to do it, it should be a breeze the next time this comes around. Thanks for watching.